to The Car Guy with your host, Klaus Kindor. Currently, Klaus owns Classic Car Holdings, LLC here in Spokane, a boutique dealer specializing in vintage, collectible, and contemporary automobiles. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Here's Klaus.
Now, welcome to The Car Guy. Good morning. My name is Klaus Kinder. I'm your host. My passion with cars and absolute love for motorsports started back as far as I can remember. Our guest today is a young man by the name of Gabe Tesch. He started his career early as well, but his story is rather special. I'd like to introduce you to a great kid, a talented, aspiring race car driver, Gabe Tesch. Morning, Gabe.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on this show.
Oh, my pleasure. It's good to have you here, mate. Tell us, Gabe, when did your passion for cars and motorsports start?
I think it's been all my life because I've been at the track my whole life with my dad because my dad raced sport cars and vintage cars.
Right.
So my whole life, but I think when I went to the F1 Grand Prix in 2016 is when I wanted to race cars.
So it was in 2016 when you went to Texas.
Yeah.
To the, what is it called? The
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. You went to the Formula One race there and you got hooked.
Yes.
You had a bit of a setback before you started racing, didn't you?
Yeah, I had brain cancer for like 2 years.
Wow. When were you diagnosed with that?
2013.
2013. You refer yourself to, or you refer to yourself as a thriver.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Well, having cancer, I couldn't do that much, and the doctor said I couldn't race, so I just thrive in racing and try to be the greatest of all time.
Good for you. Good for you. You've chosen a number 48, your number. I need to point out that Dan Gurney's number many of the times was number 48. And there's also a guy in NASCAR, a pretty well-known guy by the name of Jimmy Johnson, who runs the number 48.
Right.
Any correlation?
No, I'm not a big NASCAR fan.
So you like to turn left and right?
Yes.
Okay, I get it. So why the number 48?
Because 48 weeks, I did 48 weeks of chemo and 48 weeks of radiation. And my number was 16 because that's the year I beat cancer. But 16 is a really common number, and 48 is a number no one really has. So it's just more out there, I think. And when people see 48, it stands out more.
Cool.
So I thought that was really cool about 48.
And your logo, you've got a logo that has not only the number 48 in your name, but it also has some graphics around it.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, the green around the C up here is renewal and rebirth, because when I finished cancer, that was a whole new life for me.
Right.
I had to get back into school and stuff and just being a normal kid again. And then the gold is for childhood cancer, and then the gray is for brain cancer, and then the C is for Christ.
Okay, cool. So this logo can be changed. So,
Yeah.
So anybody who gets involved with, you're in go-karting as an example.
Yeah.
So the logo is kind of it's your gig, but it can apply to almost anybody, right? They can change part of that.
Yeah, they can change the colors. So, like, my mom's is 16 for 16 weeks of chemo, and then the gold changes to, well, no, not the gold, the gray changes to pink.
Oh, okay.
Breast cancer.
Oh, very cool. So it could be changed for whatever cancer somebody had?
Yeah.
Or whether they survived. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're racing go-karts now and doing quite well from what I understand. In fact, your first year, did you win a championship your first year?
Yep, my rookie year.
That's amazing. That is just absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So you did pretty well your first couple of seasons.
Yeah, so my first 3 races ever, I got dead last. And then my second race, I crashed, and then I won 7 races in a row to win the championship.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That is just absolutely amazing. What are you hoping your go-karting leads to?
Professional racing, like Formula One or Indy or something high up like that.
So
really anything.
So given any racing series, given your choice, where do you really want to race?
Formula One.
You want to be an F1 guy.
Yes.
Those guys have amazing talent.
Yeah,
and they
for
have
sure.
incredible dedication.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible dedication. It's also very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Terribly expensive. Even go-karting.
Yes.
What's your budget for this year
About $60,000.
to go-kart racing?
Yeah, it's an expensive sport.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And compared to Ferrari's budget last year at Formula One, I think it was somewhere close to $600 million or something
Yep.
like that.
It's not even close.
That is just a boatload of dough. It's an
Yeah.
expensive game. What I've found over the last few years in motorsport, and I'm a big fan, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
you can bring a lot of talent to the game, but
Right.
it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a seat.
Yeah,
So it means you need to bring a lot of money to the game,
right.
right? What are you doing to pick up corporate sponsors?
Stuff like this, being out there on TV so people see me.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Instagram profile and stuff, and just social media. Social media is a really big thing nowadays.
And you're also helping other cancer victims, aren't you? And
Yeah.
and other hospitals.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I do stuff for Wishing Star, and I just want to be a big thing for the kids that have cancer, because I've noticed that kids with cancer, when they have it, they have no idea what they're going to do when they get done, because they just think they can't do anything, and I just want to show them that they can by me being a racing driver.
Now, I'll tell you what, that is one heck of an inspiration. It really, really, truly is. You have a personal trainer that you work with a couple of times a week.
Right.
How important is that to you in relationship to being a race car driver? How big a deal do you think that is?
Yeah, a lot of people say racing isn't a real sport, but it's actually one of the most physical sports there is. Like,
Yeah.
when I get out of the car, I'm done. And so it's a big deal to me to stay really fit. And when I had cancer, that I wasn't fit at all. I was weighing like 60 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and so fitness to me is a really big deal. And I watch a lot of videos about F1 drivers and what they do to stay fit, so I've noticed it's a super big deal.
The F1 drivers are amazingly fit athletes. I mean, they truly are. These guys are going, they're racing for an hour and 40, an hour 50 minutes in 130 degrees in the
Right.
cockpit,
Uh-huh.
right? They'll lose sometimes up to 12, 14 pounds of body weight, of water weight in one
Right.
single race, and they're pulling up to 4.5 Gs for an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is just absolutely unreal. So physical fitness is a big deal. Do you watch your diet as well?
Yeah, I try to average 100 grams of protein each day. Eat right stuff. Right now, it's a little different because I'm a grown boy at the same time, so I have to eat as much as I can.
Sure.
So I can't, like, eat just carrots.
Sure.
So, but, yeah, I try to average 100 grams of protein, and, like, I drink 2 protein drinks a day. I have a protein bar, and just as much good stuff for me, you know?
Cool. And you have a simulator as well at home that you practice on, don't you?
Yes, every day.
And is it pretty accurate?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I heard a thing that, this one driver, he got a sim, and, he Laguna Seca, he was about to go there, and he never went to that track, so he got on the sim, and he was practicing on the sim, then when it was time to race, he got on the track, and he set a track record.
Is that right?
So the sim's a really big deal.
These things today are pretty evolved, and you can spend a lot of money on a simulator. I understand the Formula One teams are spending millions of dollars on these things.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, it's crazy. They have, like, these things where they connect to your head, and it produces G-forces and stuff. It's crazy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That I did not know.
Yeah, it's super cool. I
Very,
really
very
like
cool.
it.
I'm going to kind of do what I'm going to call a full throttle round. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you hope to be in a year?
Starting to get into cars.
Yeah?
Hopefully.
Full-size cars instead of go-karts?
Yeah. Because that's one thing about racing. It's a big age time thing. If you don't strike while the iron's hot, it's all over.
Yeah.
And I've seen like F1 drivers that are 28 and they're already talking about retiring. So
It's a little bit different than it used to be in the old
Yeah.
days.
yeah,
These kids are coming up and they're incredibly gifted. They're wonderful athletes. It's an extraordinary thing that these kids are doing nowadays. I mean, it truly is. And I think by the age of 30 in F1, you're pretty much done anymore.
yeah, it's way different than it was back then.
Yep. I got a buzz going here. Did you? Do you buzz me, Vinny? Nope. Where do you hope to be in a year?
A year, just starting cars and then still doing go-karting and big series in go-karting. Like SCUSA, I'm hoping to do a full series again in SCUSA and winning championships and winning big races and just doing as much as I can to get into the big time.
Yeah, yeah. I understand a lot of Formula One drivers have their own go-karts,
Yeah,
and they go out and practice in their go-karts rather than their F1 cars.
yeah,
Why?
for sure. Because go-karting, I've heard is really similar to F1. They're like I've heard F1 drivers say that the closest thing to an F1 car is a go-kart.
I know I bought myself a go-kart about 15 years ago, and I had it for about a month because it hurt so much. I
Yeah.
sold it. It's physical.
It's
really,
really
really
physical.
violent. These little things are violent. Your kart is a two-stroke this year.
Yeah.
You're moving up from a four-stroke kart into a two-stroke kart.
Yeah, I'm racing both actually, 4-stroke and 2-stroke, and it's really 2-stroke is horrible.
And you ran last Sunday.
Yeah,
How'd you do?
I got third. There's 3 karts battling for the lead, and we were just going all day. We were past like 5 times a lap, and that was the longest race of my life.
And this is the first time that this season is the first time you moved up into a two-stroke.
Yeah, it was my first time in the 2-stroke, and I was 3/10 off the track record, so
That's
I was really
amazing.
happy.
This kid's got talent. This
Yeah,
kid's
thank
got
you.
talent. That's awesome. I think we're going to go to a commercial break here real quick, if I'm not mistaken. Vinny, am I correct there? Awesome. Well, we got to thank our sponsors. I'd like to number one thank the good guys and gals at European Auto House. I've told you before, if you've got a German car, that's the place to take it. And also the great people at Can-Am Auto Body. And with that, we'll come back in just a couple of minutes.
Can-Am Body Shop has been a family-owned business for 50 years, and we would like to invite you to try our local automotive body repair services. We offer a variety of services, including full-service collision repair, frame and unibody repair, air condition services, and fiberglass repair. We have a certified spray booth. We're on a gold level with Spokane Clean Air, and we are willing to work with all insurances. And you'll always get a written lifetime warranty with any of our services. Give us a call at 509-534-3044 or visit our shop at 7706 East Boone Lane. That's 7706 East Boone Lane.
And we're back with Gabe Tesch, an aspiring young, incredibly gifted race car driver. I'll tell you, if you're here in Spokane and you've got a corporation that needs a good spokesperson, I'd look at this kid. I really, really would. We're going to get back to my full throttle round. Who's your favorite racing driver?
Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, you and I have discussed this.
Yes.
I do believe he was an immense talent. Immense talent. What's your favorite racing car?
I think the coolest car I've seen at the track was Niki Lauda's 1976 F1 car. I thought that was a cool car.
Wasn't
and
it?
the wheels are like this big, and it's just the coolest car I've ever seen.
There was a thing that I saw where I think Hamilton was allowed to drive
Senna's car.
Senna's car, his
Yes.
McLaren. From what year?
I think it was 1989.
And I think it even took Hamilton back as to how fast that car and how difficult it was to drive compared to a modern Formula One car.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of Senna just going one-handed around Monaco, having understeer and oversteer, and it's just crazy.
There was another race I think he was in. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was at Brands Hatch in the rain. On the first lap, he passed
10 cars, something
something
like
like
that.
that. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. Do you think anybody will ever break Michael Schumacher's world championship record of 7 championships?
I think Hamilton might tie it, but me as a driver, I'm hoping to maybe beat that record.
There you go.
I think that'd be a really cool thing, and I think any driver wants to beat that record.
I know I did. Unfortunately, I started a little late. I didn't start my driving career until I was almost 30. So when I could afford it. But I'll tell you, every minute I spent in a race car I loved.
Right.
There's nothing quite like racing, as you and I have discussed before.
Yeah, it's a weird sport. It's really different compared to other sports. It's just it's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain. It is hard to explain. I think unless you've been in a car and you have that direct competition with another driver in another automobile on the same piece of tarmac, you're looking for that same piece of asphalt that's being occupied by another car. Right? So it's tough. It's a chess game. It's a 150 mile an hour chess game. Can I outthink you into the next corner?
Yeah. Something that Senna said I really like is he said, when you put on the helmet and you go on the track, everything goes away. Yep,
it's true. And it's an interesting thing because in the paddock, where everybody's working on their cars, everybody will help everybody. You need a part or you need a tool or you need something else, everybody is willing to help. But as soon as you get out on the racetrack, it changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's all over. It is not a nice sport anymore.
Very cool. I'll tell you, I think Gabe is a remarkable kid. I really do. He's marched through adversity. He's come out the other side absolutely determined and focused. He's a goal-oriented young man. And I think you're an inspiration. I really, truly do.
Thank you so much.
I think it's awesome. I love your grit. I love the fact that you're a thriver, not just a survivor. I think you're a great corporate spokesman, or could be.
Yeah, thank you.
And anybody in the business world who needs a good corporate spokesman, I think they ought to look at you. I really do. I think you're going places. I love your grit. I'm really, really glad you were here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to do this.
Terrific. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Thanks, folks. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for watching. The Car Guy is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Ask Klaus a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.